just about time. Let me make sure my browser is set up right before I switch over. I think you can hear me, but right with you. Does that work? I think that worked. I wasn't sure. I clicked a different button than what I normally click, and it looks like it transitioned the scene. Okay, good. Well, hello, good afternoon. This is DGSD 395, Section 2. Welcome to Day 2 of class. I am Professor Zach Whalen, and I'm going to be talking about some things. Now, this is Section 2 of 395, Applied Digital Studies. I plan on covering the same content that I covered a little over an hour ago for Section 1. So if you are still hanging around from Section 1, you're not going to see anything new. You're welcome to hang around, but it's going to be the same thing. Almost everyone has replied to the availability survey that I sent out in Canvas, and what I learned from that is that, unfortunately for me, it seems that many of you do have a conflict at the same when the other section is meeting, so it will not be reasonable for me to try to do one stream. So at least for now, I'm going to be doing 140 and 250, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whenever I'm streaming, and then I might think of something else. There might be another way to save myself some time. For example, I might just do Section 1 one day and then do Section 2 a different day or something like that. But for now, at least this week, I do plan on doing 2 streams a day. Today, obviously, and again on Friday. I'm going to do 2 streams on Friday as well, 140 and 250, to take you through some more things. Yeah, that's the deal. So thank you for filling out the survey. I think almost everybody has replied last I checked, and it was pretty interesting. I learned some things that weren't really surprising, but it was good to see, kind of seeing it together and to see what was going on. In terms of availability, it looks like there is a pretty good chunk of people that will be entirely remote all semester, which is fine. And there's also a pretty good chunk of people that are really, it's about a third of you are planning to be remote, and the other 2/3 I should be able to divide those pretty evenly between a Wednesday cohort and a Friday cohort. Most of you actually that indicated availability indicated that you were available Wednesday and Friday, but you preferred Wednesday. I think that's because in some cases perhaps you're trying to get that longer weekend, but bear in mind you'll still need to do things on Fridays even if you're in the Wednesday cohort. It's just you won't be doing them face to face, so it's not entirely like that, but it is. I do understand. I think there's something nice about not having to come to campus certain days. So today, here's the plan. I'm going to be talking about and demonstrating something called Colab Notebooks, and that will be what I spend most of the time with today. My original plan for today had been to introduce you to the first node, the first content node, which is what I call these in this class. However, I'm going to wait until Friday to do that because a lot of what you need to get started with that is just the basics of the Colab Notebook environment. And so that's what I'm going to spend some time on today, just the very basics of what is a Colab Notebook, how do you work with it, and then that way when I start giving you content in that form on Friday, you'll already have a basic understanding of the platform, which is the Colab platform. So hope you all are doing well. I hope everything is coming together. This is the first week of classes. It's always sort of disorienting and bewildering, and everything's you're trying to figure out different schedules and things for different classes, and obviously it's more complicated than normal this year. I'm sure you're dealing with all kinds of different things from different faculty as they come up with their plans and try to communicate them with you. So yeah, it's just it is what it is. I hope you can hear me, by the way. I haven't seen if anybody said hi yet, but if you are watching, you can say hi in the live stream chat channel in Discord or on the Twitch channel. It's always good to see if there's anyone out there, and also to confirm that my audio is working okay. Oh, hi, great. Hey, there they are. Good to see you all. Yeah, great, thanks. Interestingly, my Twitch stream thing now says I have 3 viewers, but I obviously have more than that because I see all of you saying there's more than, I don't know. The Twitch stream preview thing isn't very specific, I think. But that's all right. As long as there's people out there, right? That's the idea. Of course, these are going to be streamed. Streaming live. These are archived on Twitch, so you can watch it at later. Twitch.tv/Zach Whalen. They're also available on my YouTube channel. Let me show you what that looks like, because I attempted to show you this the other day, but I didn't have anything on it yet, so there was like a blank spot. But if you are looking for a stream that has already happened, if you go to youtube.com/Zach Whalen, then you can see my YouTube channel, and you can see all of my uploads here. But there's a lot, and I'm uploading 2 or 3 streams a day. So if you want to find our classes one, there's a list down here: Applied Digital Studies Fall 2020. Somebody just posed a question: would you rather us talk in Twitch chat or Discord? It's up to you. It doesn't matter to me. I try to keep an eye on both of them. But just as you've discovered, you have to create a Twitch account to post a chat, like to post a message on the Twitch channel. And also those are public. All these Twitch streams are public. So I guess that's a slightly different audience. So I guess bear that in mind. But if you don't mind your comments being public, go ahead. I think I don't actually go back and watch streams after the fact very often, but I think you can still see the chat if you are looking at the stream after the fact on Twitch. I'm not totally sure about that. But at least with Discord, if you put your comments there, other people put their comments there, that conversation stays there, indefinitely inside of Discord. So you can always go back to it then. It might be a little bit hard to find the right time frame, but it should be okay. So either one's good. But I tend to have 2 different computers running here. So I have this one streaming, and I'm looking at Discord on this, and then on my laptop I've just got the Twitch. It's called the Twitch stream manager here. Yes. So as Meg just pointed out, this Twitch stuff does expire. I know the videos expire, but I guess it makes sense the chats would too, and maybe they expire differently. The archived live streams on Twitch, I think, just last 2 weeks. So that's why I download them and upload them to YouTube when I'm done broadcasting. So I usually just do that right afterward, and should be up there. Sometimes it takes an hour or 2 for it to process, but it's there. It's there indefinitely, I guess, as long as YouTube continues to be a thing. It'll be there on my channel as long as I keep my channel up, and as long as I don't get any copyright strikes or anything. That has happened a little bit. Okay, so again, I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for filling out the survey. I will be hopefully able to, and I've already started sorting you into cohorts for for Wednesday, Friday. I keep getting that wrong. But it looks like, most of you indicated you prefer Wednesday. So I will probably, but I probably will not be able to honor all of those requests. Some of you, it was a really hard preference, and some it was just all things being equal, you prefer Wednesday. So I'll try to honor those as much as I can, but I can't guarantee that I can. I have to kind of see. And certainly a couple people did prefer Friday, but most people preferred Wednesday between those 2. So I'll do my best. I'll let you know, and then I'll give you a chance if it is really a problem. Whatever I put you with, you can let me know, and I can follow up with that. Okay, great. So let's see. The live stream channel. There you are. Yeah, so as Arrow279 points out, it does say 22 now, so that's good. It's good to see that's being updated somewhat accurately. Okay, now here, where am I? Okay, so this is the announcement I sent just before the stream today, before my 140 stream, and this is the link to my Twitch channel, of course. I posted a follow-up comment on this, and I'll be talking about this notebook that's linked here. You're welcome to go ahead and take a look at it, but I'll be walking through it and explaining it in some detail shortly. So you don't have to yet, unless you want to maybe work ahead a little bit. I just wanted to show you a couple of things in Canvas before I move off of this screen. Something you may have noticed, because Canvas put a big announcement on this whenever you first log into Canvas. It now lets you set your preferred gender pronouns as part of your profile, which is great. I requested that feature like 6 years ago, so, or maybe not, but a while ago. I remember requesting that feature. And there used to be a workaround that I would do for this, or recommend people do. You could create a link down here on your profile where it would show up in a certain way. So it would be like, your pronouns would show up there if you link to, I think the website was pronoun.is/ and then it's whichever pronouns you prefer, and then it would show up here. Kind of a workaround, but now they've got it set up so you can just set your pronouns. If you hit edit on your profile, you can set it to he, him, or she, her, they, them, whatever you prefer. It doesn't. I guess you have to choose one of the options here. You can't customize them, but those are some pretty good options there. And then save those. I haven't updated my biography, obviously. I guess you can if you want to. The other thing that you should check, and it's always good to review this once a semester, your notification preferences in Canvas. Pretty much anything that happens in Canvas can potentially trigger a notification, and so you should go here and review your contact methods, and make sure it's set up so that it's going to be notifying you about things you want to be notified about, and as frequently as you think is necessary, and also through a means that you know you will actually see. So if it's an email, is this an email address you're actually going to check? You can also have it send you text messages, which is kind of different. I've just now started setting mine up that way, so I'll see if that works. This is a phone number you can text me at, by the way, if you happen to be seeing this. That's a Google Voice number, but it goes to my actual phone number, I think. I haven't tried it, so I don't know, but I think it's supposed to work. But Canvas is using that as well, and we'll see, I guess, if Canvas is able to send text messages to it. But I definitely would like for you to make sure that you look at this notification type, announcement. Announcements are really important. That's the main thing that I'm going to use to communicate things to you, so make sure you've got that set up so that you'll actually see those, either with an email or a push notification, probably both, maybe even a cell number to text you at. I'll probably be sending you at least one a day, to be honest. I mean, it's going to be a lot because that's going to be the common denominator for communication in this class. There are multiple channels here, right? So we've got Canvas, we've got Discord, we've got Twitch. We're going to have notebooks here in a moment. So it can be confusing and kind of overwhelming, all the different things. But always think of Canvas as the common denominator. If it's important, it's going to be in Canvas. Now, that doesn't mean that if it's not in Canvas, it's not important, but the most important things are definitely going to be in Canvas, like what to do when, links to notebooks, and it's also how you'll turn things in, so it's going to be very important. So make sure you're definitely paying attention to Canvas. Okay, so a couple other thoughts. The survey that you all sent, I guess I wonder if I can, I'm trying to remember if I can display it without actually revealing, like showing your names on your responses. I'm pretty sure that's the default. So let me see if I can look at it in a way that's safe here. Statistics? Yeah, it's weird. Canvas insists on grading it, which makes no sense to me. But yeah, it's just going to hide all of your text responses, which is fine. But it's weird that it gives you grades for these somehow. But it doesn't. Like it doesn't actually give you a grade. It just marks some things as correct and some as incorrect. And I have no idea how it does that. But anyway, I did notice a couple of things, a couple of themes in your responses. So I wanted to quickly address those and then move into looking at Colab Notebooks. One of the questions was, or these two questions basically, what are your concerns or questions and anything that I should know about you? So it was good. A couple of you had some comments there. A lot of you just said everything, nothing. You said just or left it blank, which is fine too. But in terms of people who had concerns, I think there were two overarching themes. On the one hand, there are some of you concerned about COVID-19 and UMW's preparation for that, and I understand, and I share some of those concerns. I do think UMW is well prepared, as well as we can be, but it's a lot of unknown things, and I don't blame you at all if you are concerned about it. Some of your concerns were more general, just about the pandemic and how it's playing out, and anxieties about that, which I share those anxieties. But for some of you, if those anxieties are preventing you from coming to campus face to face, it's good for me to know that. I'm glad that you're telling me these things, and that's part of how this class is designed. I'm building this class in a way that will let you participate just as fully as anyone else, but just using the online methods. I did talk a little bit about the classroom setup and how it's going to be when we do go back to face-to-face. I'll get in there sometime, maybe next week, and take pictures in case you're curious, just to kind of see what it looks like. It looks pretty empty, obviously, and pretty sparse, but you know, that's how things are going to be for a bit. The other thing that some of you expressed concern about is an online class, taking this class online, either just for now or possibly the entire semester. And I think a lot of you are right to be a little bit concerned, or at least wary about just like if all your classes are online, especially keeping on top of things, like keeping track of everything that's due, when it's due, what you need to be doing or checking every day. It can be overwhelming, and especially because faculty, you know, we're all going to be doing slightly different things, and so you as a student just have to do your best to stay on top of that. I will do my best to communicate with you as clearly and as frequently as possible, but I know sometimes, you know, communicating too frequently can be overwhelming. So I'll be judicious about that, hopefully. But like I said, Canvas announcements are going to be the thing, and probably one per day, right? I mean, that's at least on days we meet, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to kind of give you a plan for what we're doing that day. That's probably all I'll do, though, so hopefully it won't be too overwhelming. If it does get overwhelming, let me know. If you get confused or lost, absolutely, it's okay to let me know or ask a question. Sometimes I know students, I guess this is understandable, you get somewhere where you're lost, you're confused, you're not sure where to go next, and then you get sort of shy or embarrassed about asking for help, and then you don't ask for help, and then you get even more lost. Please don't let that happen. Please get in touch. Please ask me questions. It's my job to answer your questions. That's what I do. So don't feel embarrassed about that at all. Please contact me if you have questions or you get stuck or you're not sure what to do next. Absolutely, right? Like that's what I do. So no apologies necessary for that. If you do need to contact me or talk to me or whatever, right? So go to zachwhalen.net/contact, and this is linked in the syllabus and the Canvas page, and I should probably put it on various profiles, but lots of ways you can contact me. If you want to reserve a time to have a conversation, you can click the Book Now button and reserve a 20-minute conference, and you can reserve several 20-minute conferences in a row, honestly. Whatever you need to do so that I can answer your questions or help you figure things out, right? That's the plan. Okay, yeah, I think that's all I needed to say about the survey. Let me see if there's any discussion. Yeah. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on the different channels. So yeah, just let me know how things are going, I guess. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, or what I'd like to do for the next little bit here in class. And I would like to introduce you to the Colab Notebook environment, which is what I'm looking at here. I had initially planned to share with you the entire first node, which is the first set of exercises and content. I'm not ready to do that, partly because I'm not done with it, but also because I think it's a little overwhelming to give you all that and also introduce a new platform at the same time. So today is just going to be about introducing this platform, and I invite you to follow along with me and try it yourself as I'm demonstrating it. You can also watch me do this and then try it on your own later, or you could maybe minimize me and just listen to me talk through it and play around with it. Lots of different ways you can arrange your space to make that work for you, whatever works for you. That's the idea. So my voice is still struggling. So I've got a good supply of yerba mate here, so I'm gonna keep that going, I hope. Okay, it's down to 3 viewers again. I wonder why. I don't know. I believe you if you're out there. It's just hopefully you haven't gotten lost. Anyway, let's take a look at the Colab Notebook thing. So let me see. So where'd it go? Here we go. It's here. I shared an announcement earlier today with my plan for today, and then I posted a reply to that with a link, and that's the link to this notebook that I created as an introduction to Colab Notebooks. So that's the link that I recommend you click on and take a look at, and this is it right here. Now this is a Colab Notebook, and this is being hosted inside of Google Drive. In order for you to make a copy and do any work with Colab Notebooks, you do need to have a Google account. That's something I think I mentioned sometime on Monday. If you don't have a Google account, you should get one. If you would rather not get a Google account, if you have philosophical or moral objections to having a Google account, I do have alternatives I can give you for, for other ways you can do notebooks. They will look slightly different, but they actually work the same. This idea of a notebook, a programming notebook, is a generic software concept. So it's something that other tools use. There are other platforms that are notebook based. It just happens to be, this is the one we're using, and it happens to use Google Drive as the backend. There are a couple of reasons why I like this one, and I guess they're worth explaining. One is that it's in Google Drive, so all of the things you can do with a Google Drive document, like a Google Docs or a spreadsheet or a slideshow, you can do most of those things, I guess, but pretty much the important things you can do with Colab Notebooks inside of Google Drive. For example, I can share them with you, or I could give you access so you can only view it, or I could give you edit access so you can make changes. And that modality is really convenient, especially when you're trying to work on a project together or teach somebody something. You can give them a copy of your notebook and let them play around with it and make their own thing with it, which is, I think, a great way to learn. So that's the one reason for working with Colab Notebooks. The other thing is that when you work in a programming notebook like this, you have kind of the web version of it, like you have the visible part of it that makes it easy to read the content. But ultimately what's happening when you write code is that it's connecting to a computer on the back end and then executing that code and doing whatever process you're asking it to do. The computer that we connect to here using Colab Notebooks in Google Drive is a Google computer. Like, it's a Google virtual computer, and if you want, you can connect to a really powerful virtual computer to do things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, image processing, stuff like that. And it's free, so it's really nice. These are things that if I were trying to do that on my computer, it would take days or weeks, but we can do it in hours on a Google computer. And that's really convenient. So I don't know if we'll get to that point in this class, probably not, but in case you ever do, or if you take a machine learning class, you'll already know a bit about how to use Colab Notebooks for that. Okay, so let me kind of take you through it a bit. This is the one that I have started with, and what I recommend you doing is, as I say here in the instructions, go to File and then Save a Copy in Drive. You notice you can also save this in GitHub, but I think let's just stick with Drive, I guess, and go from there. So I'm going to actually make a copy as well, so that I will leave my initial one intact. And then if you open a new tab, you will have your own copy that you can edit. And what I like to do, and if you notice here, it says copy of intro to notebooks.ipynb. That's the file name of the first notebook I created was just intro to notebooks.ipynb, and now I made copy of. And what I would recommend is go ahead and rename it. I'm going to make mine Zach's other copy of Intro to Notebooks, because what I did in the previous stream was Zach's copy of Intro to Notebooks, and so this is Zach's other copy. I recommend you name it something similar, like your name's copy of the Intro to Notebooks. That'll help you keep them separate. It will also help me keep them separate if you share them with me, because then I will be able to see whose notebook it is. Like if I'm looking at 50 notebooks all called copy of Intro to Notebooks, I have no idea which is which. But if you name it after yourself, I will be able to see that eventually. But also you'll be able to see, as you look at different tabs here, which one is yours and which one is mine, if you need to tab back and forth between those. So I recommend you do that, and also just, it's better looking. Okay, so this is a point where I would normally, like if this were a face-to-face class, this is a pretty significant step here. So I would normally explain that, demonstrate it, and then I would check to see how everyone's doing, to see if you did that. So I'm going to actually post a message here in Discord in the live stream chat. Asking if you made a copy of my notebook, if you're doing okay. And so just reply to that message with a thumbs up or something, react to that, just to let me know if you're doing okay, or if you're not doing okay, maybe a thumbs down or something negative, and I will take that as an indication that I need to show something again. Okay, so Hum just asked where to find this. So you can find it in the Canvas announcements. So if you go to the announcements page for our our Canvas course, the link is there, but I will also just paste it in Discord here. Just let me copy it. Here you go. Yeah. Oh, and thanks, Waffle King Jr. That's the same link as well, so that works. So thanks, Waffle King. So that's it's a Google link, as you can see, and then you can see that it's Google Collaboratory. That's the full name. I mean, it's just abbreviated Colab Notebooks, but the app or product is actually called Collaboratory. I think that was a separate company first, and then Google bought them, and then, or maybe not, or maybe they just integrated with. I'm not sure. There's not an exact one-to-one relationship between Google and Collaboratory. They're slightly independent of each other, but not really. So anyway, that's all. Let's see, a couple of people typing, so I'll give you a chance to type that thought, I think. And then, oh, good, you did it. Excellent. And then, okay, well, I'll move on, but I'll see if... Now, of course, the nice thing about the stream is that you can watch it later, so if something is confusing, you can just sort of mentally remember, okay, I'm going to have to come back later, and then I can go ahead and I can move on, but you would still be able to come back and watch it at your own pace, and then that would work too. If that is the case and you're watching this later and you're still not sure how to proceed with this, or you need that link again, let me know and I'd be happy to help you figure that out. Okay, so let's move on. Let's take a look at Zach's other copy of Intro to Notebooks.ipynb. Now, the way that a notebook works is that it lets you blend two types of content. Those two types are what it calls cells, and you can create a code cell or a text cell by hovering over the kind of the seam between cells like you see here. I find this a little awkward, to be honest. You can also hit the plus code or plus text cell to create cells, but you don't have to do that yet. Just take a look at the ones I've created here for you. The first one is a text cell. It says, "Welcome to Colab Notebooks." And then I've got several other cells with text in them. And this text cell, like in a conventional notebook environment like this, you would usually use the text cells to explain what you're doing, and then your code cells to actually do it, and then maybe discuss it or analyze it or something like that. A lot of times you'll find tutorials written in Colab Notebooks, so it'll be like, here's how you can do this. So run this first, and then try this other thing, and then run this, and then you get an output of some kind of outcome that you're trying for. So it's a good way to learn Python, which is what we're doing here. But there's actually lots of other notebook environments. Lots of people do R in notebooks, for example. And I think I'm not sure if you can do other kinds of notebooks, but like if you install like a notebook server yourself, which is how I used to do this, you can have it running on different backends to run different kinds of code, but this one is Python 3, so that you can set it to Python 2, but I don't remember how actually off the top of my head, but Python 3 is fine for what we're going to be doing with it. Don't worry too much about the Python types. Okay, so I'm making a copy, and then here in text cells let you do pretty simple minimalist HTML formatting to make your text look a certain way. So if you want it to look with italic text or other simple inline markup, you can do that here. So let me show you what that looks like in here. I'm going to actually, where it says try it yourself, I'm going to go ahead and insert a cell below. You should do this as well. And then this is kind of the in-class exercise that I will probably like to look at eventually, but don't worry about that for now. Just play around with it. And as you can see, when you start typing, you can type text in here. Can you see that? Hopefully you can see that. I don't know. I don't remember where that is in relation to me. It is slightly behind me, so let me scroll down a bit, and that should be better. So you can type text here, and this uses something called Markdown, and Markdown is essentially a shorthand for HTML. So if you know inline HTML, you can write things like if you wanted to make something. This is italic. You can type inline HTML if you know it, but even if you know it, it's typing, like it's more characters. You can accomplish the same thing with Markdown if you just do 2 asterisks before and after, 1 asterisk before and 1 after your text that you want to make italic like that. You can make things bold as well with 2 asterisks on either side, and you can see it go like that. Or what do you think is going to happen What if we do 3 asterisks? Asterisks, did I spell that right? I hope I spelled that right. Let's see, we can do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, good. Yeah, it is bold and italic. So great. I was hoping that would happen, and it did. So good. So that's, I mean, that's inline markup, and it is sometimes useful to style your text in ways that emphasize what you're writing about. All the options that you can do are actually available via buttons here. So if you wanted to make something a quote, you can click that, and it'll give you the indented block. If you want to make something a list, either a numbered list or a bulleted list, you can hit that and it'll get you started with the syntax. So try these different buttons, see what you do. This one is a horizontal line across the thing. Pretty straightforward. And again, you can't get too fancy here. Like it doesn't let you change the color of the text. It doesn't let you change the font. So that's kind of a limitation, but it's also kind of a nice thing because it ends up helping your notebook look consistent. And if you follow that organization, it tends to work pretty well. So I'm looking at the Twitch chat, and I don't know whose face that is that you all are. I feel like, is that a Twitch meme? I don't know what that is. Somebody tell me what that is. But anyway, this is I see that little guy on the Twitch emoji reaction keyboard thing, but I don't know. Is it Elon? It kind of looks like Elon Musk, but I can't tell. It's too small on my screen. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, it's an emote. Okay, right. But it's like emoji. Emote is just like Twitch's fancy word for emoji, right? Well, I'm glad you're excited, and it's called Pog. Is that the emote's response? Is that the emote's name, or is it a person named Pog? I don't know. We can talk about it later too. I'm just curious. I mean, I've been using Twitch for a little bit here, but I don't really feel fully immersed in Twitch culture yet. Okay, the specific emote is called Pog. Nice. Okay, well, I'm glad that you're excited because that's what apparently that expressed that signifies excitement. So I'm glad you're excited. Okay, so Python notebooks, we're making things look different. So one of the things that we can do. Let me just try it here. How do I? Sorry. Oh, it's a bunch of emotes. I don't actually know. I don't want to make a mistake here and emote the wrong thing. My computer is my computer running Twitch is heating up a lot and making some sounds that it doesn't normally make. Oh, there's Bob Ross. Cool. Okay, well. There, I just posted some Bob Rosses. I don't know what that means, if that has a specific meaning. Okay, so I saw a question. How do you do the indented block? So the indented block, this is from Discord. Okay, cool. So in here, I just clicked the button that looks like an indentation, and it did that. But you can also just type, it's that greater than sign, and then this will be a block quote, and then it'll show up like that. Of course, you can see the preview of what your text cell looks like on the right. So you'll work on it on the left, and then you'll see it on the right. That's a good way to learn too, because you can immediately see what you're doing, basically what the code you're doing means to the Markdown interpreter that's making it look a certain way. So that's about it. That's really just about all you can do. There's a couple more things I wanted to show you. Links are a little weird. They have a slightly more complicated syntax. Links are important. You can highlight something, and then, so actually that's also an interesting little accident there. A series of hyphens as immediately after some text, that's one way to make something a heading, which is what happened here, and made that bold, but I didn't mean for that to happen, so I'm gonna hit enter and make that back into a line break, into a horizontal rule. But if you wanna make links, if you highlight some text that you wanna make into a clickable link, and then you click on the link icon, the chain link icon, it'll give you that syntax. It'll start that syntax for you, and you can complete it with the URL that you want to send people to. So google.com or whatever. Well, you do need the HTTP. So that's how you do a link. It's a little bit more complicated, and I often forget, do I need square brackets around the text or around the URL, and sometimes I have to try it a couple times before it works, but you see whether it works or not very quickly, so it's easy to adjust. The other thing that is worth explaining a little bit is how you do headings. And you can see how I've done headings if you double click on the cells. So double clicking here, you can see that Welcome to Colab Notebooks has one asterisk in front of it, or hash mark, one hash or pound sign, whatever you want to call that, in front of Welcome to Colab Notebooks. A single mark like that means that this is a top level heading. It's equivalent to an H1 tag in HTML. So it's saying this is important, this is what this document is about. And then the sections of this document are indicated with the 2 hash marks. So this is a second order heading, or an H2. So editing text is one, and then I have writing code is another one. These are the 2 next level down organizational elements in this notebook. You can also see these if you click on the left. It looks like a sort of a bulleted list on the left, but it gives you a view of this document as table of contents. So each heading is going to create an outline entry in this table of contents, and you can see that they're indented based on level. So Welcome to Colab Notebooks is an H1, or the top level thing. That's here, and then editing text, linking and embedding, and writing code are all indented over 1. I guess linking and embedding, that really should be an H3. So let me adjust that, because it has to do with text. It's not a different kind of thing. But you can see it moved over just now, so it now shows up as underneath there. You can also, once you have these headings, this little drop-down arrow appears on the left, and when you get really long, complicated notebooks, sometimes it's convenient to click that and just collapse everything under that heading into its own little cell, and that sometimes is convenient, sometimes not. Okay. It is possible to embed video. It's a little awkward. You have to, normally if you wanted to embed like a video, you would get, let's say, like this is my a data moshing tutorial. You can hit the share button, and then you can get this embed code, and you get an iframe, and you can put this in like a WordPress editor or some other place where you can write HTML. That's usually how you do that. The problem, though, is that in the Colab Notebook, it does not let you do iframes. That's a security risk, so I understand why they do that way, but it does mean that you have to do a little bit of extra work to get a video embedded. It is possible. I will probably do it in some of the notebooks that I create for you, but it's not usually worth the effort, honestly. It's easier just to link to them. So here's a link to a video. I know this is a challenging time of this semester, so I invited a guest speaker to class to inspire you with his words and his encouragement. So check that out if you feel like you need some inspiration today. Yeah, he came all the way down from wherever he was before to visit us in the Convergence Center. So check that out. But anyway, that's content. And remember what I was saying with Colab Notebooks, the whole point of it is that you can do content, like I can create things, but you can also do code. And so I want to make sure to talk about code. Let me just post another checkup here in Discord. I'll say everyone's still doing okay, because that's about all I wanted to show you in terms of content. So if you, just react to that appropriately, then I will know that you're ready for me to move on. But if you have any questions or negative reactions, then I will pause a bit and make sure to get everyone caught up. All right, seeing lots of thumbs up, so that's good. Good. Yeah, and again, I know I feel like I am running through a lot here, like going through a lot of different things. If you're not quite seeing the point of this yet, that's okay. I'm not really justifying it yet. I'm just showing you the mechanics of it. So when we get to some real content on Friday, you'll kind of already be used to this platform. That's my main goal today. And actually, not a whole lot left to do, which is good because I see we're getting near the end of the allotted time that I plan to do these. So we're talking about code. I mean, the whole point of doing a Colab notebook, as opposed to just, let's say, a WordPress page or a Canvas page, is that we can execute code inside of this notebook. And sometimes this will get a little complicated. Like, that's kind of the point. We want to learn some complicated things, right? So what we're writing, this is a Python 3 notebook, and so that means the code that I write in a code cell is going to be interpreted by Python, the software Python, and it's going to try to carry out the instructions that I write for it. So when you write Python, think of it like a script, and we really do use that term when we talk about Python code. We create Python scripts, and if you've ever been in a play or something, or a movie, film, you write a script. And you, as an actor, you read the script and you follow the instructions that are in it. You say what you're supposed to say, you go where you're supposed to go, you're following directions. That's really what we're doing when we program with Python. We're giving our computer instructions. We're saying, do this, add this to this, flip this around, and then tell us what the result is. So it's a set of instructions, a set of commands that instruct the computer to do something. We have to decide what we want it to do. We have to figure out the right commands to get it to do that. But that's ultimately all we're doing, is we're just telling the computer what to do. And like I said earlier, the nice thing about the Colab Notebook environment is that the computer we're talking to is not our personal computer, like the one here, but some Google server somewhere that is probably much more powerful than our computers at home, which is nice. And the other thing that's nice about that is that it's all the same kind of computer. It's always the same kind of computer. Every now and then I've connected to one that was a little funky, but most of the time it just runs super smoothly, and I don't even think about the back end. It just works. And hopefully that will be the case for you too. So this is, by the way, I mean, obviously this is the first time you're taking the class, but I used to use this, do Python notebooks using a system called Jupyter, which works great, but you have to download it and set it up your own notebook server on your own computer, and then you can start writing Python. It's a lot of steps before you can get to the point of actually writing code. But here we are, we're writing code, and we can just do it. So let's try. I've already got a code cell here where I've just asked it to print out the phrase "Hello World." That's the conventional starting point for a lot of languages. But I'll start from scratch here with a new code cell, just clicking plus code, and I'll say, I'll do the same thing. I'll type print, and hello, this is Patrick. And now that I've written this code, I need this computer to run it, and I do that by clicking the play button. You can also do Shift Enter or Control Enter, but because I'm streaming this, it's easier for you to see it if I click the play button, and it should run. It takes a couple seconds the first time because it's creating that initial connection to that computer on the back end, but now that it's connected, it should just run. And you can actually see it now up here on the right. It initially said connect to a runtime, but now that it is connected, I can see the information about that runtime. So you can see that this is a Python 3 Google Compute Engine backend. I've got 12 gigabytes of RAM to work with and 107 gigabytes of storage if I need it. So, that's great. It's nice to see that. And again, it's a pretty capable computer that's set up for this. You can even upgrade that if you find that that's still taking too long or working on something. If you go to here, you can actually change the runtime type to a GPU or a TPU, and you can do even more powerful kinds of things. Those are set up for machine learning kind of things or cryptography kind of things. So pretty cool. Now this is Python, and I don't have time to introduce Python generally to you today, but Python is I feel like a pretty beginner-friendly language because a lot of times you're just writing words in English that do something specific, and in this case I wanted it to print that phrase, and so it did. But just to get you started with Python a little bit more, let's see what happens if I commit an error, if I type something wrong. So I'm going to delete that last parentheses and show you what happens. All right, it got confused, and it told me that. It said there's a syntax error, unexpected EOF while parsing. Now the nice thing about Python, and another reason that it's, I think, a beginner-friendly language, is that its errors are fairly verbose. Like, it's pretty good at telling you, here's where you went wrong, and if you understand how to read the messages, they tell you usually what exactly you did wrong. So that's this one. It does take a little bit of interpretation and knowledge here. EOF means end of file. Basically, it's saying I was trying to parse this, but I got all the way to the end and it didn't make sense. So you need to fix something probably here, and it's pointing me to the place where it started getting confused. And it's right. If I correct that, it should it should work again. Oh, well, so I accidentally typed 2. So let me fix that, and now it should work. That seems to work fine. Yeah. You can also, let's see if I failed to include that quote mark. You can see it was trying to scan. It knew that it was supposed to scan a string literal, but it got to the end of the line and it still didn't get finished with that. And so it's like, something is confusing here. Please correct that. So I can correct that again. It should work again. Something else, let me show you another issue that you may find, especially if you get to the point where you're trying to follow someone's tutorial for Python and you write a print statement like this. So notice what I did differently. I have print and then just the phrase, hello, this is Patrick, with no parentheses around it. And if I hit Shift Enter, it's going to tell me, hey, this is what I think you did. This is a significant difference between Python 2 and Python 3. We're just using 3. But if you've already learned Python 2, you might be used to writing print statements this way. And that does work fine in Python 2. For reasons that I don't fully understand, Python 3 requires you to put parentheses around the argument to a print statement. And the parser knows that. So the Python parser here is like, hey, I think you forgot the parentheses. So here's what you should have done. And you can literally just copy and paste that. And this suggestion turns out to be correct. And it just works, right? So that's another, basically what I wanted to convey is that errors are good. Errors are okay. You will get errors if you're writing code, and that's not, it's not the end of the world. It's actually, it just means that you're making progress. And so sometimes it takes a little work to understand what an error message is saying, but error messages are good. They're part of how you learn, how you get your program doing what you want to do, what you want it to do. Okay, so just a few minutes left here. I think what I will do is show you a couple more things about the Colab environment, the editor that you might be interested in doing. For example, you might notice that as I'm typing here, I have a 1 next to my code where I'm typing, and you may not have that 1. It is a 1, by the way. It looks kind of like a lowercase l, but in this font, that's a lowercase l. I don't know if you can see it, but that's a lowercase l does look different from a 1. But you may not know which is which without context. You can do several different things to change the look and feel of your notebook environment if it helps you understand what you're seeing. So let me show you how to do that. If you go to the gear icon up here on the top right, you can open the settings, and you've got 2 themes you can use, light and dark. So I'll just show you the dark theme. Some people prefer this, and that's fine. If you are already used to using dark themes on your operating system, then this will probably work better, look better in that context. I do use a dark theme for most things, but for whatever reason, I can't get used to it when I'm writing in a Colab notebook, so I usually leave it on the light theme. But it's up to you what you want to do. I have also found, I guess one reason why I like it is if I'm in a classroom and projecting it, the light theme usually looks better. It's easier to see, so that maybe that's why I prefer it. But a couple other things you might want to do. So if you go to the editor section on settings, you can change the size of it. But I like to show line numbers. That's unchecked by default. But if you show the line numbers, you can see what line you're on, and that's really useful, especially when you start writing multi-line chunks of code. You can see which line is which, and then that's especially helpful if you say, hey, this isn't working. I can take a look at it and I can say, oh, well, your problem is on line 6. And that's easier for me to point to if those line numbers are labeled. So I recommend enabling line numbers. A couple other things are useful. I don't know. You can have it trigger code completions. I find that annoying, but some people find that helpful, especially when they're learning. Basically, it'll suggest what it thinks you're trying to do, and it'll give you possible completions for it. To me, it just makes it noisy, and it's like it usually is not suggesting the thing I want, and so it's like frustrating to keep clicking out of those. So that's a hit or miss thing for me. Something that some people do enjoy is the under the miscellaneous, you've got 3 things that some people enjoy. I personally find distracting, but it's up to you. You can set the power level. So you can do some power, no power, or mini power. Use with caution. So let me show you what this does, and you can see perhaps why you should use with caution with this. So watch what happens when I type print. I am programming with power. So it just basically explodes as you're typing, and then it gives you this combo thing, and it's an error, but that's all it does. It takes processing. Like you're actually asking your browser to do some work to display the explosion effect, which doesn't do much for me. It's kind of neat, but I definitely don't want it there all the time. So I'm going to turn that off. Corgi mode and kitty mode can be fun, though. So let's turn that on, and you'll see what happens with these in just a second. Yeah, there it goes. there goes a corgi. You know, some people enjoy the idea that they might be visited by a corgi while they're writing code. And it's randomized, so let's see if maybe a kitty shows up next. Hey, there's a kitty. I don't know. Kind of cute, I guess. They show up together. Sometimes they show up in crowds. They don't really interact with each other, but I don't think I've ever seen that anyway. But it's kind of fun, I guess. Also, like around holiday season, like around Christmas, for example, they will have like Santa hats on sometimes, or they'll have different costumes around Halloween. But there's no difference in terms of what it does for your code. It's just a thing that people do. And there are more cats than that. It's just it randomly chose the same cat both times, I think. But it's random, so you never know what you're going to get. So, but again, I find it a little distracting, so I usually leave that off. And I don't know why they created that. Okay, so in terms of homework for today, really just if you followed along, you're good. But if you watched this on your own and now you're going to try it on, you watched this with just me doing it and now you're going to try it on your own, just make sure you do try that on your own, especially this part here where you're adding your own text. Because that's the thing that you'll be doing first with the actual content notebooks that I will hopefully introduce on Friday. But try some code too, right? I mean, printing Hello World is a conventional starting point for writing code. It is Python. It is valid Python. I have not introduced any other aspects of Python to you, but there are lots, and it's a fascinating language. I don't know. You can play around with it if you want to, but mainly just try to complete this before Friday, so you'll have some familiarity with the notebook environment, and then you'll be able to follow along a bit better with the hopefully more content-oriented notebook that I give you on Friday. You don't need to turn this in, at least not for now. Maybe I might ask for it later, but for now, don't worry about turning it in. Just try it on your own, and then if you get stuck or have questions, let me know. Okay, so I'm about to wrap this up. So if you do have questions for me now, go ahead and get these in. It looks like someone's typing, so I'll let you type your message and try to answer it. If I can. But yeah, otherwise, hope everyone's doing all right, getting used to things. Need another drink here. Okay, so the question was, can you watch the different stream? So if you are in the 250 section, can you watch the 140 live stream? And yes, absolutely. So that's totally fine. Or vice versa. Like if you miss the 140 and you want to watch the 250, totally fine. As long as I'm doing both of them, then it's going to be the same content. So whichever one you watch makes no difference. So as long as you're staying on top of things and watching what you need to, you should be good. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap it up then. These will be archived. This video will be archived as soon as I close this out, actually. I'm going to download it from Twitch and upload it to YouTube, and then it'll be there for forever, I guess, and you can watch it as you need to. But I'll send another announcement on Friday, probably, with instructions and a link to another notebook that we can work through with a bit more content. We're going to be talking about algorithms first. Algorithms are everywhere. They define so much about what we do in life and what we think of as possible. And they really encode ways of thinking about the world, and I want to make sure we understand what they are, how they work, and how to use them or how to respond to them. So, we'll do our best over the next few weeks to try to figure that out. But that's going to be it for today, so thanks for watching, and have a good afternoon.